Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dragonhill Games, and you're watching This Week in MTG Finance. As always, before we get started, I want to thank MTG Stocks for allowing us to use graphical information for the purposes of this video. Alright, we're going to kick things off with the top 5 winners percentage-wise since last week, and we're going to start right here with Gibbering Descent from Future Sight. This card's up 39% over the course of the last week. It also had another huge jump back in August of last year. It went from like the dollar range into around the $4 range. Kind of cruised for a while. All the cards this week are increasing due to commander demand. So, Gibbering Descent, 2 black and 4. It's an enchantment at the beginning of each player's upkeep. That player loses a life and discards card. And then it has a Hellbent if you skip your upkeep if you have no cards in hand. The next one on our list, and in the number 4 spot, is Bedlam from 7th edition, also printed originally in Urza's Saga. Card's sitting at $6, and it's up a healthy 52% this week. But it's been on an increase since about the middle of last year. So for 2 red and 2, we get an enchantment, and all creatures cannot block. I'm sure you can think of all kinds of great uses for that in Commander. And moving along to the number 3 spot is a Demonic Consultation, printed only in Ice Age. So this card is really interesting. We're currently sitting around $11, and we've had an increase this week of 62%. It's been on a little bit of an increase ever since about the beginning of last year, but the increase over the last couple of weeks is definitely due to the fact that this combos with Sasses Oracle. So Demonic Consultation is simply 1 black and instant. You name a card and then remove the top 6 cards of your library from the game. Then you reveal the top card of your library. If it is the named card, you put it in your hand. If not, basically you just keep removing cards from the top of your library until you hit that card. So if you name something that is obviously not in your library, essentially you'll remove your whole library from the game, and then you can just outright win by casting Sasses Oracle. Alright, our second biggest winner this week is Mask of Memory from Mirrodin, and this card is up an astounding 174% to a price of nearly $2.25. So it's an uncommon, printed in Mirrodin. It also had some printings in Commander 2014 Plane Chase. And of note, it will be in the mystery booster cards coming out later this year. So this card is 2 mana artifact equipment, and whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw 2 cards. If you do, discard a card from your hand with an equip cost of 1. Alright, and our big winner this week is Sacred Guide from Tempest. This card's sitting just over $4.50, and it's up an absolutely mind-boggling 934% since last week. That's right, it's gone from total junk status to a $5 card in just a week, folks. And the reason for that is, guess what? It also combos with Sasses Oracle. So Sacred Guide is just 1 white mana for a little 1/1 guy, but the important thing is you can pay 1 white and 1 and sacrifice Sacred Guide, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a white card. Put that card into your hand and remove all other revealed cards from the game. So if we don't have any other white cards in our deck, essentially we're just going to be removing our library from the game, and we can go ahead and win with Sasses Oracle. Alright, so now that we've seen that 2 of the top 5 winners this week are a result of this card right here, Sasses Oracle, let's talk about Sasses Oracle a little bit more in depth. So currently sitting at around $3.25, which I actually think is a little bit high at this point for this card. I mean, it's a brand new printing in a brand new set, and it's only in the rare slot. The card doesn't really work all that well in standard, so the demand is simply going to be for Commander at this point. And having a card in the rare slot in a brand new set is going to mean that a lot of this stuff is going to get opened over the next weeks and months. And there are going to be a ton of Sasses Oracles hitting the marketplace. So don't get me wrong. I mean, I think this is a great card, and cards that can outright win you the game are always going to be popular in Commander. So if this card was to fall under sort of the $2 mark, that would be the point where I would be looking at it from an investment standpoint. All right, before we dive into the cards I'm investing in this week, as always, if you're a subscriber, you know I want to thank you for being here. We really appreciate your support. And if you're one of the many new subscribers that have joined us this week, welcome to the channel. All right, so I want to kick things off right here with Thassa Deep Dwelling, specifically the showcase version. There's something kind of interesting going on with the showcase versions of these cards. And I don't know if this is because maybe people just don't particularly like the art on these cards. To me, I think the showcase versions are outstanding compared to sort of the regular version. But I guess that is just sort of a matter of opinion. But Thassa Deep Dwelling currently sitting around $17.50 for the showcase version. Now let's have a look at the regular impact version. So the impact version is $18. That's right, it's a little bit higher priced than the showcase version, which is a weird sort of anomaly. Usually, alternate art versions tend to fetch a higher price. They're usually harder to come by. People like sort of the alternate art, and it's just sort of a little kind of trophy piece. But so I did find it interesting that, the regular impact version is actually going for higher right now than the showcase version. Now, I will point out that the regular impact version foil is $23. And if we go back to the showcase version, the foil of that is $35. Now, this could very well be because, these are available in the collector boosters. So there's probably a little bit higher supply out there than maybe was initially sort of thought there would be in terms of the amount of showcases in the market. But Thassa, as a card, I think is a really solid card. I mean, this at the beginning of your end step, exile up to one other target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So basically a free blink every turn. And I mean, Thassa's not going away sort of while she's on the battlefield. It's really difficult to deal with any of the gods, really. So having that free blink every turn definitely means you can do some busted stuff. Especially in Commander. But Thassa's actually putting up some really, really solid numbers in Standard right now. There was actually a metagame Standard challenge over the weekend on Arena, and Thassa was in many of the decks that put up 7-0 sort of finishes. So definitely appearing in Standard works well with things like Agent of Treachery. We just kind of keep blinking that and taking control of your opponent's board that way. So I'm not sure I'm an investor at $17.50, but I did want to point this out because I thought it was interesting. I think if Thassa sort of falls below the $15 mark, I think that's definitely a good time to pick up whatever copies you need for sure. And then sort of below $10, I would be a long-term investor, certainly on this card. All right, and the next one I wanted to bring to your attention today was Mirror Maid from Throne of Eldraine, currently at $1.75. Get this card now, folks. You're never going to find it for this cheap ever again. The card is starting to pick up steam. It's definitely on an upswing, and this graph is only going to increase from here. This card is going to be used a lot and forever in Commander. It's just really, really solid. I mean, I mentioned this back when a Throne of Eldraine dropped and the card kind of fell below the $2 mark as definitely one you should be looking at for the long term. And my position on that has not changed, but I don't think you're ever going to see it for cheaper than this. So I wanted to make sure you guys had another opportunity to pick up whatever supply you are thinking about. And actually, I found that this here is actually kind of ridiculous. The extended art version is only $5.80. So if I found any of these kicking around at my local LGS, I would scoop them up in a heartbeat at under $6. All right, and last but not least, we have our speculation play for the week. That's right, and it's Gravebreaker Lamia from the new set Theros Beyond Death. At 50 cents, this is just ridiculous. I would buy these in droves. I mean, as many as I can get my hands on, and of course that's just me. But let's look at this card. So for 1 black and 4, which is absolutely nothing to pay in Commander, we get a 4/4 lifelinker. And when Gravebreaker Lamia enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. Oh, and by the way, spells you cast from your graveyard cost 1 less to cast. So let's compare this to another card. Entomb, which is like $16. So Entomb, search your library for a card and put that card into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. That's the effect that we have over here on Gravebreaker Lamia. And graveyard decks are amazing at recurring creatures. So if our Gravebreaker Lamia dies, we just bring it back and get to search our library for another card that we want to bring back as well. So just a really solid card. I mean, it's 50 cents right now because there's going to be a massive supply of them in the market. But this is definitely one that in the long term is going to be well sought after for Commander players for sure. All right, I really hope you guys enjoyed this week in MTG Finance. What cards are on your investment radar? Why don't you let me know in the comments section below? All right, we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.